We actually plan our curriculum to make sure that children are fully aware of the kind of dangers that lie there, and then we try and translate that into the layout within the school grounds here. For example, the children some years ago helped us design a play trail. Well, we could have chosen a number of locations within the school site, but we chose to have it near those trees there to provide shade, so that not only did children have fun playing on the actual equipment, but they were protected in the shade of the tree. Over here, some years ago, we actually planted a whole row of trees to provide a wildlife corridor, but in time they've actually grown to provide a wonderful shade. The children often, when they're playing on the field here, withdraw there, they have a little rest, get themselves cool, and then come back onto the playing field again.
We do a number of different projects with children about their health and their fitness and physical activity. And so some of the things that we get the children to do is do some exercise. And of course, when you exercise, your body heats up. And of course, we need to lose that heat. So children are able to lose that heat by different processes, so processes such as conduction or convection. Of course, they also sweat, and from that sweat it will evaporate, and that will lose heat. There are some classic signs for heat-related problems in children. So this would be things like they appear perhaps nauseous, a headache perhaps. They have obviously sweated very, very profusely, and now maybe the skin is looking a little bit clammy to the touch. Maybe you've been able to observe that they're now not sweating quite as much as they were. So these are beginning to give you some indications that maybe the body has really become too hot and action probably needs to be taken. They'll also probably report that they're feeling very, very tired and lethargic, and their mood might actually change. They might actually become overly sensitive or temperamental. Equally, they can go the other way and become quite unresponsive and not really appear to be focused. So all these different signs could be warning signals that perhaps they've had too much heat.
We do keep an eye out for one another. So the children would then look out to see if people are suffering in any way from heat stroke. Certainly lunchtime staff have a particularly important role to play, because that's obviously when the sun is at its hottest. And they keep a very close eye on children when they're playing, because I'm sure you understand that when children are engrossed in their play, they can become quite absorbed and may not realise that they're becoming overheated or suffering adversely. And children are encouraged, and parents indeed are encouraged, to teach their children how to apply the sunblock. And it's really, really important that they know all the ways that they can keep themselves cool and comfortable.
What we do know from children's physical activity patterns, for example, is that outdoor play is important for them. It's important that they do get some sunlight on the skin. We know that it helps vitamin D, for example, and that's a particular concern at the moment in the UK. But yeah, a variety and a balance to their physical activity patterns in the summer is clearly sensible. Some of the tips that parents, teachers and the children themselves should be looking out for during hot conditions would be things like wearing a hat. So this is very sensible in terms of a hat that's got a peak or a visor. And now some of these hats have cloth down the back of the neck to protect the neck. That would be a good idea, to make sure that they've got some fluid, water, so that they can obviously hydrate at appropriate times. Good idea to think about shade. So if it's possible to take some sort of portable gazebo. We know now in schools, if they've often got a sports day event, that they put up these type of portable gazebos, and it's great to get some shade. Of course, you can take those on the beach or little beach tent type things. It is obviously important to think about sunscreen, the lotion. So parents, if you're sending children into schools, good idea to put that on first thing before they go in, and that takes care of that. Then think about the clothing. So we know sort of very light, loose-fitting, light-coloured t-shirts, etc. They're a good idea. Some of these new materials now wick away the sweat, and they also prevent UV rays. So that's a good thing. For parents and organisers of sports events, using the Met Office's 5-day weather Forecast is excellent because it will give you the information about the temperature, about the humidity, about the wind speed, and all these factors will really help you prepare to get the best out of those days away for your time in the heat.